Alright. 20 minutes left on this. Okay, we are back here with Don, and we just watched the introduction with Mike Corns and Charlie Cox on the video, and we also watched the section 2 on the superliner equipment. So now we're back here, and hopefully that answered your questions about the blower switches and door switches.
You did.
And of course we'll go over these when we have our training trip that Amtrak and Park Service was nice enough to give us to Galesburg. Everybody gets a free trip out to Galesburg and back coming up this month. I think yours is in May.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
You can check if you like.
No, that's okay. And we'll go ahead and we'll go over the blower switches, door switches, and windows and everything one-on-one. We'll take you as your partner will be narrating. I'm going to take you on a walk the train. So if you have any questions, keep that in mind, and we'll see it in person. But just to recap what Charlie and Mike Corns told us, the blower switch circulates the air throughout the train. In the event of a fire or outside the car, the blower should be turned off immediately to prevent circulation of smoke. So it might be a little bit of smoke, but that's all you need is to blow that smoke around. I don't know if you got to the chapter about the Cherry Hill mine disaster yet in the book.
No, haven't.
Basically the same thing. There was a small fire and they decided to use fans. This is one of our sites that we see. There was a small fire in a mine out between Mendota and Princeton, and there's a small fire, and they decided, well, let's bring a bunch of fans, we'll put out the fire, and it just spread the fire, and it killed 239 people.
Oh.
That's one of the sites that we talked about, so that's good to emphasize with the blower switch. A little bit of smoke that might seep in from outside or the car, if you blow it all around the car, it would create a lot of smoke and panic some passengers. So it's important to turn that off. If the fire is in the ceiling of the electrical system, leave the blower on could actually spread the fire. So not only do we have to worry about smoke, we got
wind
flames.
promotes rapid oxidation. So
there you go.
There it goes.
So there's the location of the blower switch. Again, and we'll go over this as we go when we go to Galesburg. But it's right where the center panel is, where you just did about here, and the blower switch is right above where the timetables are. Sometimes there's timetables, sometimes there's not, but it's right up here as you're going down the stairs to get your snacks. It's right up there. Again, this is in our superliner equipment, which we'll be using. In the coach cars, it's usually there by the door. You can see that, flip it. And then in the event of a fire, know the location of the extinguishers. Getting on in Chicago, we should have a lot of time to get set up. They usually bring the train in a couple hours early, so if you want to, it's good to just walk around a little bit. Once you get your speakers set up, just, hey, go walk around a little bit. And notice this blowers notify the conductor or crew member if there is a fire. Operate a fire extinguisher only if you're comfortable and confident doing so. We want to emphasize that because not everybody might be comfortable using a fire extinguisher, and it's better that you're comfortable with it. It's not your duty to go put out a fire if it's on the train if you don't feel comfortable doing so. So just want to let you know that it's not expected of you. If you feel like you can do it, go ahead and obviously be helpful. And when using the fire extinguisher, aim for the base of the fire. Follow the pass system. Not an I-pass, pass. Pull, aim, squeeze, and swap. The important thing as we learned in our training was that there's a battery box on each of the trains. On the single level cars like the Hiawatha coming up here, it's under the car. In the superliner, it's behind one of the bedrooms or on the lower level is a battery box. If you look real up close to the superliner, it'll say battery box. It'll be a door like this that's on one end of the car or the other. It's extremely dangerous. There's airborne carcinogens in there. So follow the conductors carefully with that. So you breathe some of that in, you can kill yourself with it. So it's usually a black smoke that would emulate from that. So it's important to do that. So Unit 4 is wrapping up here. List 3 pieces of emergency equipment. Here's your test.
The maul, the nightstick, fry bar.
There you go. That's 3 of many. The blower switch should be off when you smell or see smoke in the car.
Yes.
Or only when instructed by an Amtrak crew member.
No, turn it off. He may not be present.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's a smoke.
You don't have to ask the crew member to turn off the blower switch. If you see that smoke, just go ahead and do it. It's not going to hurt anything. You're just turning off a fan. It's not like you're opening a window or a door. Or you're just turning off a little fan. And then if you want to adjust the temperature of the car, are you allowed to mess with the blower switch?
No.
No, correct.
That's for the train crew to do.
Exactly. Number 3, at least 2 windows on each side of every Amtrak car are designated for emergency operations and can be opened from the interior without the aid of any tools. True or false?
True.
True. Yeah, you can pull out the handle, pull out the thing, take it out. But remember, that's the third option. The best option is to go to another car. Remember on the video, number 1, go to another car.
Right.
Number 2 is evacuate out. The reason why that's number 2 is because we're going to have a live track on one of the 2 sides. So
exit the door.
Exit the door. Number 3 is the windows. I've actually been in some Amtrak emergencies where the windows have been open, and I can tell you that we had an emergency around Kankakee, and we're on the northbound city of New Orleans. It gets quite cold in January between Kankakee and Chicago with that window open and blowing. So, I mean, if it's a true emergency and they have to do it that way, but I wouldn't want to ride up to Los Angeles with a window open for 48 hours, and sometimes I'd have to set that train car out. So that's why they prefer you not to do that. And if you have to do it, they told us to, I think, to try to set that window back in the car, because at least if you had to open the window, the crew can kind of put it back in place. Some people were like, well, should I just throw it out the window? And
well, no.
You might hit somebody who's outside, or it might shatter, and then people are stepping out on glass, or I don't know if it shatters or not, but just not a good idea. Don't throw it out the window. Put it on the seat or somewhere where you can. Moving on to Unit 5 of 6, potential problems in a derailment. Multiple problems may arise in a derailment situation, including injuries to crew members and guests and panic situations. The condition of the train cars may be impaired and cause evacuation obstacles, and then there may be fires, fuel leaks, or power lines down. The power for heat or air conditioning may be on and need to be shut off. Also, environmental and weather conditions increase threats to safety. In an evacuation, check for fire and smoke, debris, downed electrical wires. We were talking about how the Northeast Corridor runs with the electrical wires. We don't have overhead catenaries, but we still have power lines along the tracks. Oncoming trains, as we mentioned, is a big threat because we are double tracked for all but 5 miles from Chicago to La Plata. A lot of fast freight trains coming and going. So if you have the option to go out this side into the woods, or step across this track and go down to the woods, let's
take the woods.
Take the woods without the other track on the other side. If it's, if you have the choice and you can go either way. Weather conditions, rain, snow, extreme temperatures, lightning, flooding, chemical spills, and/or biological hazards, tunnels and bridges. We don't have any tunnels. We do have a lot of bridges. And then electrified territory. There are no third rails in our Chicago to La Plata, but we do have power lines that run along the track, so that could still be a hazard. Evacuation of the car should be in the order. Well, it's kind of what we went through. Car to car, through the exterior doors, and then through the windows.
As the final result.
Yeah. Yep. Car to car, exterior doors, second choice, third choice, through the windows. Onboard evacuation, car to car. Remain calm, open the door, and put it in the manual mode. That's where we saw where you flip the switch. And use the door switch to keep it open, so you don't have to keep hitting the button and 5 people go through and then hitting the button. Let's not do that. Communicate instructions for safe and orderly evacuation. Say, okay, everybody, this car is filling with smoke. We're going to go move to the dining car where it's safe. Why don't we all just sit at the booths in the dining car and do our thing? Maintain a buddy system for accountability. Maybe you're going to evacuate people in the dining car, and you'll stand at the back of the lounge car to make sure you're the last one in that car, and then maybe I'm your partner for the day, and I'll go stand and right at the door as people are moving in. So use a buddy system. If there's smoke, remain low and under the smoke. Close the door when evacuation is complete. And if you're the last car on the train, be aware you can only evacuate in one direction. Don't open that back door, which will be a coach car on the Southwest Chief. Don't open that back coach car because it's a 10-foot drop out the back. Don't do that. Unless I guess you absolutely had to, but you can really only evacuate car to car in that one direction, not back if you're in that last coach car. Assess the condition of down power lines on multiple track lines. Determine if train traffic is stopped. Assess weather conditions. Make sure there is safe footing. Use a step box and don't have passengers walk on the rails. If you are evacuating from one train to another, don't touch both trains at the same time. That's an electrocution hazard. So if another Southwest chief or somehow they're able to get a Illinois State train up next to us, and there's down power lines, don't grab onto both trains at the same time. Account for everyone in your fellow Trails and Rails and Amtrak crew members. So if you see everybody and you only see one conductor and the train there's a fire on the train, or you're not there, it's important to not only worry about the passengers, worry about your crew members, and worry about your other Trails and Rails partner. Keep together and determine a meeting location so you can account for everyone. They give us an example of a derailment. I don't remember where it was, where local town folks thought it would be nice to, come to our high school, and some people were taking these passengers into their homes, which was great, but then Amtrak couldn't account for for the passengers, because some were at Sally's home and some were at Billy's home, so they didn't know who survived, who might still be on the train.
So do we try to determine where they're going?
Well, try to say,
or keep them all together in a group.
Try to keep them all at a safe distance in a group. If you're the only one, see what the conductor wants. That's the first thing. Or the emergency responders. But if people start wandering out, say, hey, let's meet in this field for now. I appreciate your offer. Or even if you and I, you don't have your cell phone on, or it got broken in an accident, and we get separated. It's not a good idea. It's always a good idea to say, hey, let's go meet on this field. You went to Jim's house, and I went to Sally's house, and now I don't know where you are. You're not answering your cell phone, and I'm all panicked. So it's important, a meeting location where everybody stays together. Problems you can encounter: language problems. Passenger might not understand English. You might have to, maybe tug on their sleeve, nicely say, come on, fire, smoke, do whatever you can. PA radio systems might not work, so our PA system, our portable PA might die. The radio systems might not work for the conductors. Passengers may need assistance regarding family members, service animals, luggage, and medicine. What they say with the luggage is leave the luggage. Tell people, but my bag's back here. No, there's smoke.
That's a hard one. They all want to bring it with, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Just leave it.
Yeah. Same with our PA system. We can hit everybody up for donations for another PA system if the train's on fire. It's okay. So that's important. And then here's some of the hazards: bridges. You're not going to tell people. Here's a picture of a train going across the bridge. You're not going to tell people.
We don't evacuate. No.
Well, if there's safe walking room along there, just be careful. Or water here. I mean, you might want to evacuate on the side. People tumbling off into the Pacific Ocean. Or here's, there's tunnels and stuff like that on that Parkville route or the Zephyr route up in Colorado. Alright, so the other Unit 5, evacuation of passengers from a train car should be considered in what order? What's the order that we went through? The first choice
is car to car.
Car to car, and what's the second?
The door.
The outside door.
Outside doors, and then the window is the final one.
Exactly.
If nothing else works.
Yep, windows last. So before evacuating any car, you should A, look for adjacent tracks, B, check for elevated structures such as bridges or steep embankments, and C, check for oncoming trains, or D, all of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah, you gotta be aware.
It all goes together.
Yeah, and list 3 problems that might occur during a derailment. If you had to come up with a little story or 3 things that might occur, or problems that might occur during a derailment that you might face as a Trails and Rails guide.
It could be someone that's broken a leg.
Broken leg.
Someone's had a heart attack.
A heart attack.
Someone's gotten lost from an elderly person in there. You got to keep track of
all that
who's with who as much as you can.
Exactly. Good. And if you are injured, this is important. Now we're moving on to Unit 6. I think this is the last unit or next to the last unit for this. If you are injured, you need to notify the Park Trails and Rails coordinator as soon as possible. In the next packet of information I'm going to give you is my phone number, and then call me first. I'm the first point of contact for you guys. I am we have Ann and Joan were your rangers. Since we don't have any rangers, I'm your contact person.
And you're 24/7 on your phone.
24/7 on my phone. However, if I'm at work, you leave a voicemail, and then I have 3 assistant coordinators under me who are that if you can't get a hold of me, leave a message. But until you get to a live person, you keep calling. You need to contact, the next point of contact is Rich DeMink. His information will be in there. If he's not available, Dick Holt. And if he's not available, my wife Candace.
Okay.
And then followed by that, the Nortons. So
we'll have with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but you're number 1.
I'm number 1, and if I don't get me, leave a message
and then go to the number 2
on my voicemail, and then go to the 2, 3, or 4 to get a live person.
Okay.
And then you have to follow up with a written report. If your partner is injured or ill and unable to contact the coordinator, you're responsible to report that. So if you and I are going out and I get sick and I can't call, or I'm in the hospital, then it'd be your job. Obviously you can't call me, so then your job would be to turn to one of the 3 assistant coordinators to go ahead and contact them. And then notify the conductor of an onboard injury if you're injured. So call me, leave a voicemail. One of the assistant coordinators. You also have to notify the conductors. We'll have the same conductors all the way from Chicago to La Plata. We'll get into more of this in our local operations. So you'll have the same guys the whole way, and they'll be the guys back the next day, kind of like the Empire Builder. So you get to know them. They have to file an accident report. If something happens at the station, you should report it to Bob Cox. He is also the coordinator. He is high ranking as I am in La Plata out there. So, and he is also the station manager. So he's your coordinator and your station manager.
Okay.
So if you slip and fall at the station, you let him know right away.
And if I can't get a hold, you leave a voicemail for him.
Well, he'll be there.
He will be there all the time.
Yeah, him and his wife are the caretakers of the station.
Okay.
So one of the 2 of them will be there. Again, if not, still let me know. And again, my voicemail is 24/7. I work, at this point, my current job, I work in the afternoons. I work from 3:30 to midnight. So I'll be easy to get a hold of until like 3 o'clock, and then after that, then probably you probably won't be able to get a hold of me, but I'll be at work. The Trails and Rails coordinator, which is myself, will notify your family members.
Pardon me, but should we have a laptop with us? Would that be of any help?
Like this?
Yes.
You can feel more than free to bring your laptop if you want. You might have pictures to show people, but then you're also responsible for the security and if you lose it, if someone steals it, then...
So we'll go by phone rather than use your laptop to contact anyone, email out.
You can email me as well. Email contact's fine.
Okay.
In fact, yeah, that's fine. Email contact, that's how you can't get a hold of me after hours. I'm 24/7 on email, except when I'm sleeping. I check it every hour, so I usually get back to you within an hour if I can. So I'll notify your family members or designated persons of the incident and keep them informed and updated. So it's not your responsibility, I guess, unless the other person wants you to if I'm injured or you're injured and something happens, then the coordinator would contact your family members. And I have the emergency contact numbers of everybody. I didn't make that public, so that's why it's important to contact the coordinator so he can call that emergency phone number, your emergency contact that you provided. And then I'll contact the National Park Service and Amtrak personnel, so that you don't need to contact Jim McCulca or Ann McGinnis or anybody else. I'll take care of that, and I'll process the requirements for your medical coverage and fill out the appropriate forms as required. So I handle all that for you, so don't be contacting any of the national people. They prefer you don't. Exercise number 6, in the event of a serious injury or death to a Trails and Rails guide, the traveling Trails and Rails partner must notify A, the Park Trails and Rails coordinator, B, Amtrak conductor or station agent, or both of the above.
Both of the above.
Okay. And then what is the name and phone number of your Park Trails and Rails coordinator?
It'll be in my packet.
Yes, it's myself, and I'm going to give you my my card here to stick in your information. It's got my email and then you can write my phone number or whatever you want on there. So you can just stick that in there. That's just my email, and I'll give you my phone number. Or you can write that down on there at a future time. So most guides, as wrapping up with this portion of our training before we move on to the last, our local Southwest Chief operations, is most guides never encounter an emergency, have fun, and provide a great program for passengers, as most people are up in the city of New Orleans. So again, it's just good to have this emergency training, but hopefully we'll never have to use it.
Very good.
So that concludes the emergency portion of the training for Trails and Rails. Alright, I can stop this. Oh, and I have 1 minute left. Look at that. That turned out perfectly. You want to take a break before we move on?
That was the past 20 minutes.
Huh?
What is your phone number? Let me put it on here.
Sure. Area code 847 271 1979. So yeah, that covers that, and then we'll go through and hopefully get you out of here by 4 o'clock. Or a little later after 4. I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick, and then we'll move on to the other 2 sections here real quick. You want any more water or anything? Or you good?
I get it.
You want your wife to give some water, or is she okay?
Leave her alone.
Okay.